So while we wait, without disclosing any privacy thing like name and so on, could you talk a little about what kind of participants we have today? By
Oh,
just
we have a good mix from basically all over the world. So we have participants from the Americas, so both from the US and from Mexico. We have from the UK. We have from France, Japan, of course, a
oh,
bunch of Swedes as well. Funny enough. Um, and we have people from Greece and from Guatemala, and so basically the whole world is represented. And to those of you here now today, Thomas is not going to be able to see your chat messages while he's working, but I am. So please, if you have questions, just fire away and I'll try to moderate them and get them passed to Thomas.
so make sure that you fire them off as you see something that you want to ask questions about, because in contrast to normal webinar, we won't be saving all the questions to the end because they will most likely be irrelevant at that point.
If it doesn't fit to have your question right where we are at the moment, I will make a mind note of it and put it towards the end. Welcome everyone to this evening with Thomas. And I'm not going to say much today. So I'm Fredrik Kastenholm. I'm the CRO here at Omnitas. And with that, I'm basically leaving this to my colleague Thomas, who's going to take us through this evening.
Hey guys, so yeah, Thomas, that's me. This is the first one of our Build with Omnitas series. So also very important, please let us know any way you like in an email or as a comment to our social medias what you want to see next, right? Because we really want to make sure we have these build sessions that are relevant and are based on requests. Today, we're going to build a CRM. So for that sake, this is actually the workspace that I'm going to keep building in. So I actually want to create a folder and call it CRM instead of making workspace specific. So this is the workspace. Obviously, we could make this very simple. Go into the templates and just start adding the one of all the many CRM templates and solutions that are available, and then tweak from there. But that's not really what we want to achieve in these sessions. So know that there are Monday templates, there are good Monday CRM solutions, but today we want to explain to you a little how we think and how we approach it. So that's why we're starting from scratch and we're building everything from scratch. First of all, I need to understand what kind of a CRM do I need. And what I mean by that saying is, do I need a contact database? Do I need a company registry? Do I want to manage the sales opportunity on the company, or do I want to have a specific board to manage my sales opportunities, because we can have multiple reoccurring sales opportunities against the same company, and therefore, so all of those things you need to understand in yourself. But for the sake of this session, I think we want to do a sales organization that needs to keep track of contacts, companies, and we want to have like the sales opportunities as a separate entity and not built into either the contact or the company. So from what we're building today, we can easily simplify by removing one of the layers, right? So we can build that into it, so keep that in mind going forward. So let's quickly add a new board. Contact, it's a main board. Let's call it contact. And why are we doing that is because that sets the taxonomy of the item for the whole board. So it says new contact, duplicate contact, and it's just a nice little feature instead of having item all over the place. Normally start with this board. What I like to do is I'll delete this group. I delete the status, so I'm not a slave under it. I delete the date. And now they also started adding a file column. Bam. This is where I like to start off, and just for sake, I just clean off everything else. So now I want to, in order to not have to start this way over and over, I want to duplicate this board. structure only. And once more. And I can also go out here and duplicate the board, right? So this is my contacts. This will be my company. And now if we want to change the taxonomy of the board, we go to board settings, change item terminology, company, right? And we go into this one, and this will become our opportunities. I always spell that wrong. Did I get it right, Frederick?
No.
Yeah.
Let's go by ops.
Yeah. Oh.
There we go.
Let's go back to the context because this is where we want to work this. So we need a text column to say title. We need a phone column, right, to have their number, and we need an email column, right? And let's do a text column saying domain. I will get to what that means later. What we also want to do is we want a connect to board between this and to our company registry, right? And don't forget to check to create a two-way connection. This way we can connect all our people to the company. And then we can have as much information as we want on top of this, right? But this is some kind of minimum level of a contact registry. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, totally. I mean, all of you come from different companies, from different industries. You are going to need to have different sort of information. And I mean, that's the wonderful thing with Monday. It's all custom feeds, just add.
So I want to wait with connecting Thomas to the company, but this is basically what we're looking at. Depending on how complex or long this list will be, we can have multiple groups. We can have a status column that categorize the different type of contact. It could, right? So we can have that as a nice little feature. This is something that we use a lot, especially when we get close to the several thousands of contacts. Then it's nice to be able to categorize them, right? I'm just leaving it blank for now. We can always enhance stuff at the end of the session. So let's go into the company registry. The company registry, I have contacts. And I do have a person column, and that would be our key account manager or account manager or something like that. So let's start filling this out, right? So this is us without the thingy here in the end. And let's say Frederick is the account manager for this, and then we'll add, let's add a link column to get their web page, right? Omnitas.sc. We maybe we want to add a location, right? And yeah, and we can have as much stuff as we want here. Most countries have some kind of org or a VAT number, right?
Yeah, invoicing details, everything you name it.
I mean, we basically don't have to expand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne, but we can do more or less any additional stuff we need. But I want to add the domain thing again, and then we'll talk about it, okay? Domain. First, I don't know how many of you guys have actually seen this new cool automation. If you go into the automation setting and you search for match, anybody searched for match and found these automations? Well, a column changes, connect the item. When column changes, connect the item, or when an item is created. So let's see. When column, domain, connect, and we are in the company now. And let's match it on domain, right? And this is like really new cool thing. So obviously nothing will happen now. I will have no connection here. I will have no connection here. I should add this automation in both places, but let's just show it for now. So again, if I do omnitas.se, I now got Thomas Carlson as a contact automatically connected to this company. And this is a really cool new automation that will save you a lot of connectivity and manual interactions with the connect to column, meaning that if you have a ticketing system and someone has an email address, you can match that to your contact registry, so you can start connecting tickets to a contact person or a company. And isolating the domain, it doesn't have to be this. It could be some other unique thing, but I like to use the domain because we do have the web page here and we have the email here. So I can use a service like Integramod to isolate the domain. I could use the app General Caster. There's a few different versions of how I can isolate this domain to create this effect quite easily. Or you can just make sure that you add the company URL, like the website. That's quite normal that you add the website of the company even to the contact, and that will allow you to do the reverse linking as well. I'm just gonna. It's a nifty new feature, right?
Yeah, Horko said, great automation. Yeah, we use this rather heavily because it's a great new feature which really lets everyone just take a step back and let the robots work a bit.
There's one thing you really need to take care of, keep in mind when you do this, is that it will stop on the first hit, right? So let's just talk about this automation for 2 seconds. If you're in a project overview and you have detailed projects planned and you want to match all of them and auto connect them, you can't do that from the project overview because it will stop the first item it finds. But if you build this automation into the detailed project plan and have a dedicated column for the project name, all those items can be automatically connected to your project overview.
Horko said, great for inventories, and yeah, that's correct because you have very specific ID numbers or whatever.
Yeah. No, it's super. There's so many use cases where this automation is golden, right? So let's all take a moment and thank Ron for this automation.
And Ron is the CRM responsible guy at monday.com.
I'm not planning to spend any more time on contact and company, right? Because these are reference boards. So let's jump into the opportunity then. So new op. We will already have the company name as a reference column. So we should learn to call the opportunity something sales related. So in this case, the opportunity would be CRM trading. Again, Cam, that will be Frederick. What do we need? We need a connect to board. We need a connect to board, right? And this connect to board needs to go, this one here needs to go to the company. And let's create a two-way sync so we can actually look at all the ops from the company registry way as well, right? And here's the next part. How do we want to play this out? So let's just connect Omnitas for ease of use here, right? Do we want to go with a mirror column and mirror all the contacts, right? So I don't need to worry about the contacts. That's one way of doing it. But then if I have 15 people connected to this company, are all 15 of them involved in this opportunity?
Probably not.
Probably not. So it might actually be more fruitful from an opportunity perspective to do a separate connection to the contacts. We can or we can't do a two-way connection. It depends on what we want to do. In this case, I want to create as much interconnectivity as possible. So I'm creating a two-way sync here as well, right? And then I will separately select Thomas and remove the mirror because it makes more sense for what we're actually doing.
Yeah, and this way is probably the way you want to go if you work with several different departments at your clients and stuff like that. So it becomes important to know for you to know which contact goes with which opportunity.
Because then it's who's the contact for this opportunity. You can still have multiple people, right? But it makes his life so much easier. Okay, so the next thing, we need a status column to govern our sales process. So let's see if we can get some help from Frederick. What we have, let's say...
exploration, maybe.
Sorry?
Exploration, maybe.
Exploration, thank you. What should we have after that?
Qualification, I don't know. Depends on who you are, really.
So we can have a lot of different ones. Let's say that we always, we have some kind of service that will require a demo, right? And then we have, let's say, negotiation. And then we are, then it's one, right? Do we need more in this case? I don't know. We can also do closing, and
you have up to what 40 steps, so you can go nuts. But from a sales perspective, my recommendation is don't go nuts.
No, there's really no point in doing that.
Yeah.
It's another thing is you need to figure out on your own if you want this to correlate to the groups, or if you want to have maybe the first three statuses in one group, negotiation and closing in one, and the one, you can even have them in a totally different board, because then it becomes something for the project team to work on, right?
We actually have a question here from Lee. Would you mirror the contact company to save time when adding a contact?
If I do a mirror, it will work sort of like a check to make sure that we found the right person. Because if I don't assign someone here, right, the mirror is not showing up. But it will, I found the right company because I could have several Thomas Carlsons. You could keep the mirror we did earlier. So these are the available contacts you have for the company. And then you have also an easier time finding the right contact.
So you basically have all contacts and opportunity contact.
Yeah, I think this is a better way of doing it. If we want to mirror something, you have all contacts and opportunity contacts.
Lee's happy with the answer.
Awesome, cool. We do need, so we need to figure out what do we need to govern our sales process, right? We need a minimum, a date column, I would say, close date, right? And then we need to start explaining what we're selling, how much it's going to cost, how much money we're going to make? Do we have like a complex way of having multiple products? So we need to do this over sub items? Or do we have a rather easy way of looking at our revenue, saying like maybe this is a fixed cost, then we have a hourly rate, and then we have hours, right? That would be one way of doing it. And let's be nice to all let's do it in euros this time. Why not? Cool. And hours will not be in euros, of course. It will be edge. Right? I think this is a easier way right now, but we could go down and make this into multifaceted sub items that mirrors up, but we still want to convey a basic CRM, right? Keeping track of the opportunities part of it. So fixed cost, let's say 1,000 euros. The hourly rate is like 180 and 12 hours. Okay, so we need a total, right? Let's add a formula. Let's do fixed cost plus hours time hours.
In brackets. So yeah. Remember your mathematics, folks.
So here's a parenthesis because we need those to calculate separately, and that would be euros, and that would then be the value. Cool. So let's add some more
just for your knowledge, Thomas, Jorge asked here if we're going to get into the item view or item card features, and yes. I basically told him we're going to get there.
Yes, we're going to get there. Definitely.
But that's not a big point, really.
So I'm just adding some more stuff here because I want to see all the different statuses together. This is one way I really love to work when I do this. So I see all my different options because it will be important later, right? So 50, 50, let's do 10, let's do 20, 40, and 100. And we can go as low as 140. And then 80, 190. Let's do a really good 230 euros. And right, so we have a few different sums here, and all is dandy, right? So we probably want to forecast this. Right now, I have 48,000 euros in my sales pipe. That doesn't really tell me much, right? So this is one of my favorite formulas. We use it a lot. I'm going to move it over here for simplicity's sake. So we're going to use the if formula. If status equals not available, right? 0. Otherwise, I'm just here for testing it, right? And then we need to have quotation marks around the statuses because it's a text field. If status, and then we need sorry, it would have been better if I just pressed if, because then I would have gotten the right format. So cool. Right. Now, what I want to do is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 statuses. So the part with the new here, I want to replace that. 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th one. So the first one is not available. It gives me 0. The second one is exploration. It should probably give me 0. Let's say 15. Sounds good.
Yeah, and that converts to 15%. Folks.
Yes, very good. And then let's say if I get to a demo, I usually have a 30% chance of selling it. When we actually go into negotiation, we have 0.5%, and in closing, we have 70%, and with one, we have 100%. You see, this is my formula, right? Now let's put a big parenthesis around all of this. Let's multiply it by the deal value.
And there you have forecasting, my friends.
And the reason why I do this is because I really want to see all the way. Obviously, here's something wrong. No, it's because the deal value is different.
Yeah, the deal value is much higher.
Yeah, but you see, it will change live with the changing of the status. So this is a cool one, right? So we have a forecast over here now. This is, and then of course, we want to make this one into a deadline with the status and make sure that the CAM becomes responsible. And you know how nice it is, like overdue, we have today, and so on. And this is why I really like to do it like this, because I didn't think about going into the settings and changing the status, but now I see that, oh, I have the wrong status for done. And I got a self-control thing by having all the statuses available to me.
So basically, immediate bug testing.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way of putting it. And when we collapse, we get all our different values. The interesting thing here, I don't know if we have any Monday people. Can we please keep the headlines of the columns so I don't have to remember which of all these values is my value and forecast and so on? That would be really sweet.
And of course, and taking this to the next step could be as well, of course, you can apply the forecasting formula to hours if you're a consultancy house, for example, to forecast your coming hours. So you can use this many times depending on what you need.
Yes. And then let's see if we add, let's add Frederick. Obviously, I'm working with quite a few companies now. I don't know your number by heart, so we're doing it like that. And then, which I don't have to enter manually, right? Now he's part of the Omnitas family, and both of us show up here, right? Super cool, awesome. So obviously we can do activities in a lot of ways, but right now, to be honest, the best way of doing it is the emails and activities app from Monday themselves. So we want to add that item card to our contact board. So we start working the emails. And you see, we actually do have some correspondence between me and Frederick that's being pulled in already, because the app is tracking since we installed it, right? So that's super cool. Meaning when I go to the company now, as you see, we have no email addresses here. Let's see what happens, because it's supposed to read the email from the contacts. Yes, it does.
Always a bit nervy. Will it work?
So let's say send email. You see both Thomas and Frederick's are suggested to fields because both of us are in this connect to board column. I'm not planning to go through the settings of the email activity tab because there's so much documentation on that already. But this is the way, if you're an Outlook person, to get your signature into the email, definitely. And here's the kicker, guys. We add the same thing on the opportunity, and now all of a sudden it doesn't matter where we are, all the emails around Thomas, Frederick, Omnitas, and this opportunity are available to me no matter where I look. Crazy, right?
It was the best thing that ever happened to Monday, if you ask me. But I'm a salesy kind of guy.
Yeah. So listen, we probably want to have, let's talk about the item card, right? So we want to bring up a new item card. The new item card, have you guys, when you press add, you see the new item card up here. Oh, it's so sexy. It's so smart. Don't limit yourself to what you're seeing here. You have ability to add widgets. So if you had sub items connect to board, we can actually insert the email service next to these columns if we want to. We can rearrange the size of everything. So in theory, we could have like all the information we need and the email correspondence in a joint view. Just as an example, I can, since this is an opportunity, I want to add my connected boards. And when it starts, it says there's no connected boards. That's because you need to go to the setting and say which connected board you want to work with. Do I want to work with companies? Do I want to work with opportunity? So either I can have it showing up like this, or I can make multiple ones where one of them is my contacts and the other one is the company. And from here, if I press it, I get also this little open up thingy. I can have my company, I can have my contacts, really nice. You know what else I can do? I can change and hide. So I can just make sure all I do need is my name, my phone, and my email, right? I don't need anything else in this view. For company, I don't need a CAM. I probably know that already. I just want the location and the organizational number because that's what makes sense to have in that view. Same thing here. We can go in and we can include or exclude part of this. So now we can, for once, we can include remove almost all of these. We already know what the name of it is. So now I have my opportunity looking really sleek. And if I had products as sub items, I would just add the sub items in as well. But now I can work. And guys, last update, we actually have support for formula columns in the item card,
which is a blessing.
Look, so the formula keeps playing along. It's living the life, right? So, and there might be more widgets. We have provided the feedback that these widgets should obviously be all widgets that you can have in a dashboard should be able to be here. Third-party widgets would be super nice. I think a lot of us would like to keep as few of these tabs as possible, right? We also have another thing that we want from an interconnection perspective. So let's say I write an update. Oop. Frederick, we write something on you as well, right? Oop, oop. On the company level, I would like to see both that and my company comments. So I'm adding my conversations app to this. Yeah, so there we go. So now I see conversations from Omnitas Consulting. I see the conversation I wrote on Frederick. I see the stuff I wrote on Thomas, right? And we see also the nested responses, meaning if we do the same thing on the opportunity, we get Thomas and we get Omnitas. We don't get Frederick because Frederick's not important to this opportunity because he's not in our connected board over here. The mirror is not picking up. So that's also something important, right?
Which is actually rather good for our use case here.
Yes, and I can extend, show more, so I can extend the chain. So I actually pick up Frederick, but if I uncheck this, I don't pick up Frederick because then I only pick up the directly linked ones.
Yeah, and actually one thing we could mention while we're here is that when you built a really nice item card view that you really like, you might want to have that as your first kind of standard view. You can actually do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to
Board as default. So set as board default, meaning that when we clicky, we get into this instead. I don't have any inside information no one else has, but I'm really surprised if updates will not be a widget in quite shortly that you can actually include here. It would make little sense not go in that direction, meaning you can basically create your master item card. Just make sure you let it span longer so you can allow for more content.
Exactly, and it's your size is saved by the cookies in your machine, so it will stay.
Yeah, so here we go. Like this is prepared already for including some updates now. We're just waiting for the feature. All right, you know what? Have you guys seen the new views? When we insert the chart view, all right, it has not been released. I actually did something cool in the Monday account earlier, and we could have same thing with multiple widgets. But for now, we have to build the dashboard. So let's build a dashboard and have a look at our sales op because I think that's what's left, right? And then of course we can make this even stronger, wider, but from the gist of it, right?
Yeah, this is the basics of it.
So let's create a sales dashboard. Let's use only the opportunities for now. And let's have a chart view. This chart view needs some settings. So let's do a stacked one. Let's make it based on dates. Let's make it monthly. Close date, that's a good one. Stack by. I want to stack by the status, right? And yeah, what x-axis we want, that would be the deal value. No, it would be the forecast, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We could set a benchmark value, saying 50,000. Now 500. That's my favorite.
Depending on what you sell, I guess.
But with the numbers I have, it was quite excessive.
Yes, it was.
Cool. So now we have a nice little board, and just in order to start generating some data, let's duplicate this. Duplicate. This is obviously not part of how you build a CRM. This is just to give us some data, right? Trying to generate as much random data as possible.
And I know that the imagery might have been lagging a bit here. So for you that don't know about this feature, what Thomas actually did is when he clicked the date column, there is now a feature for shifting the date by a certain number of days. And that is what he used.
Yeah, shift selected items by 9 days. And the reason why I'm doing this is to get some like data with a lot of data points. I think this is enough data. So now I have my sales per month, right? Maybe I want to duplicate this, and I say I want a show cumulative data, right? Meaning that everything from September is being put on October, everything from October is being put on November, and everything from November is being put on December, meaning that we can then work with...
working a growth scale, basically. So where will we end up by the end of the year? Hopefully.
We can shift them around, make them any size we want, right? And now, like with the new email activities app feature, we really need to do a lot of work around automations there in order to get some good insight on like sales activities and so on, right, Frederick?
Yes. As you saw, the email and activities app is actually named activities as well. So it doesn't only include your emails, but your meetings, your phone calls, everything. So you can plan out both ahead and register basically what you've done. But to get good tracking of that, that's basically a whole other webinar. But if that is something you want to get, like activity statistics, if that's something you would like to see, remember to comment and we'll make a webinar about that.
I think, what should I use the last part of the session for, Frederick?
Maybe we could explain just a bit more on how you can actually do product quotas. We don't have the time to build it out, but we could maybe explain how you could do that.
Project quota.
So basically, product list in sub-items, basically, which you can later on put.
Didn't we have one built out already for that?
Yes, we do.
And also keep in mind what we have done now in opportunities. Let's say that we don't have the need for reoccurring opportunities against the same company. We could just as well go in here into the company and do it, all of it. Because we could add those CRM columns with like the sales phases, the numbers, the deal value, the forecast to this board as well, right? So it basically, don't feel forced having to work with all three entities. If you have, let's say, a business to business thing, most likely you're good with a contact board that's also your CRM, right? So you can have all your deal information in here. You don't need to separate it. But saying that, being a business to business, if you do separate contacts and opportunity at least, then you can start viewing reoccurring clients and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically you're creating distinctive entities which you can use to get better data and reuse, which is nice.
So here, right, we have that. So this is you recognize the feature. This is something we did with like next action, something we did before the app, the emails and activities app was strong like it is. So now we don't see a need to build next action in this way anymore. This was really good for my work, for my week, but we can get the same functionality anyways, right? With the matching and the automations on top of the activities app. So this is what Frederick wanted us to show, the orders, right? So we can have what's the product, and that product has a price per unit with margin numbers. We fill out the amount, everything gets calculated. This is actually some brainchild of yours, Frederick. So I feel like I'm doing it disservice. So feel free to talk about it while I have it on the screen.
Yeah, so basically, many of us, we come from different CRMs, and we're quite used to be able to put in basically all the lines in an opportunity to basically calculate the value of our opportunity, because it might be not as easy as, we're going to have 5 hours and it's going to cost yay much, because we're going to have a plethora of different products, depending on what industry you're in. So this is basically made for that, and also for management to be able to basically control the pricing of products. So we basically have a product registry, just like we have created a company registry and a contact registry. We have also created a products registry, which is basically what sets the base price of everything. And then we have basically just gone in so we can calculate, just enter the amount, and if there should be a discount. That's all you need to enter. The rest is calculated, and you get your gross price, which is going to the client. So in the same fashion, everything is calculated on the fly. This can, of course, be then also used to pull data to create a quota in a PDF, for example. Mm-hmm. That can be sent to the client with the fascinating help of DocuSign, for example. So by that, you basically have a quota machine. So you can just enter your products, and you have a standard quota sent to the client.
You meant DocuGen.
Of course, I mean DocuGen. DocuSign don't work that way. Just a top tip. But that might be a good way. And there are some really silly stuff with it in this demo as well, because we have a lot of clients coming from like Pipedrive and Salesforce and start switching them out, and they're really used by the Kanban view. So we actually made something we call the sales board, which basically works the same way, because people tend to like.
I'm afraid to click it.
Yeah, so we can go, and we can even have the company logo and stuff like that. So feel free to experiment, because your sales reps, whoever, you are going to be different, but it's the same data, and that's the wonderful thing with Monday. We can visualize it as we'd like, and use that, and especially now since they actually upgraded the Kanban board a bit.
I need to live check out the new card view on this board. It makes no sense from a sales perspective, but it's really cool to look at it when you have a lot of files in the.
I tried it out for one of our product registries, but that's live in the client's account. But it's wonderful, because you have the picture of the actual product and everything. It's wonderful.
Cool.
So that's a really good view for a product registry, actually. And you can like documentation files and stuff like that, and have everything, and it's easy to just pull to the client. And that is also one thing you can do when you have the sub items. Fetch the documentation ready in your platform here, and you can just go send, which is rather nice.
So what we have done today is like the basic of the basics. We do have really good, like if you go to the template that you have sales and CRM, you have like all the big CRM ones. You have one that Monday is doing a beta on how the unified CRM solution that you're seeing there. I'm not allowed to show it, but they have some extensive stuff. It's really super strong and cool. Obviously, you get everything in place based on and then you need to tweak it. Whereas this is showing you how you construct it from the ground up, and then you start adding to it. It's two different approaches to look at it from a need perspective, because once you use a template, you get a lot of columns, and then sometimes you don't sit there and go through it and make sure you keep it minimalistic like we have done now. But you have 10 extra columns that are good to have, right, that you never use. So we tend to, but our job is to build this all the time. So we want to build from scratch because we're not trying to cookie cutter any of our clients into templates. We're trying to make sure that we're building something that are based on what you need and your processes. And for us, it makes sense building it from the ground up then.
Yeah, and I know for sure, I always say it, and I know you do too, Thomas. It's basically when you start to think about this, step away from the computer. You need to have a think before you build. So you have like a view of what am I trying to achieve here. Try to create how does my workflow look like? What is my needs? And it's much easier to build as well. Otherwise, you're going to end up just trying stuff.
So this is our first Build with Omnitas session. Please be vocal in the chat. Reply to the email you're getting afterwards with the recording. Let us know what you want part 2 to be about. We have not decided yet, and I want to be able to pick one of the suggestions coming from you guys.
Yeah, we have a few suggestions already, so keep them coming. Comment on our social media posts. Send us an email.
And I'll leave all the cheesy plugging to you.
Yeah, that's my job. So, guys, with that said, it's that time of the evening when I'm going to get to do the plugging. So, please remember, those of you who aren't signed up to our newsletter, please do that. We only send once or twice per month, so we try to keep it as minimum to not spam you with anything. But it contains all the upcoming webinars, all our new articles, and everything else we get up to. And there's a lot of new stuff coming along. Let's put it like that. So and be sure to follow us in social media as well, guys. We're both on LinkedIn and we're on Facebook, and that's where you're probably going to get the news first. So sign up. Where Thomas is on our website, it's all in English, so you don't need to worry about it if you don't speak Swedish, because we don't either, at least not on the webpage. Be sure to look into the Webinar Hub from time to others, and here you can actually see what's coming up. So the next webinar is actually going to be about Monday Work Docs, which is going to be really interesting. And then we have why move from Pro to Enterprise. That's for those of you who are not on an Enterprise plan already. But we have had massive interest for that. We have lots of signups already. Be sure to sign up because there are a limited number of seats. So be sure to sign up if that's something you're interested in. So,
and the next build with us is on October 2020.
Yeah. So if you don't care what it's about and think it's just a good idea to join us, click already and sign up, and we'll tell you later what it's going to be about. And if you can't come that time, make sure, because we always record our webinars, and everyone who signed up will get the link into the recording.
Yeah, and we also keep our old on-demand webinars over here. And if you have something else that's not part of it that you want us to do because you enjoy listening to us two goofballs talking about Monday, let us know, man. We always need inspiration. So let's
keep them coming, and all suggestions are great. But with that said, have a great evening, everyone.